Hello there, this is Ron Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Today I'm going to talk about the select brothers have earned the right to be picky. And I want to give a shout out to one of my commentators, Culture Freedom 89. The title of this video actually came out of a comment he made. And, the gist of it was, brothers worked hard to get where they at. Shoot, they don't have to deal with anything they don't want to deal with. See, let me back up a bit. And I just did a video on how the select black men choose women. Because as a consequence of black women checking for looks and swag, right? And the thing is, some sisters get huffy, they get mad, and they say, well, they doing all that. But you know what? A black man in Western culture doesn't control a whole lot. It really doesn't. He doesn't control a lot. We're not the top dogs in this society. I mean, there's nobody can argue that. What a black man does have control over is himself and his options and how he wants to live his life. He does have control over that. He can make a choice of doing whatever, because that's the one thing he has control over. And the one thing he can do is work to have options in life. Now, the select brother. Let me be clear, even though I've had quite a few videos talking about looks and swag, the men who are select don't all necessarily have looks and swag. Let me say that again. All of them don't necessarily have looks and swag. Only a small percentage of them might actually have that. But the select category is actually a little bit larger. See, I'm going to estimate, I'm going to be generous. Maybe 5 to 10% of black men are going to just have a combination of looks and personality swag that, black women are automatically going to fall for. Yet, I pegged, in past videos, I've pegged the select men as maybe 25% of the black male population. So you have another 15% of men who, they weren't born into the select. They didn't have like those raw genetics that Mr. Goodbar had. The thing is, they had to work their way to get into the select category. They had to work on their jobs. They had to work on their education. If they blue collar, they had to work on their vocations. They had to put in long hours. Not only that, but they basically had to build their body up, because to be in a select is more than just money. It's still an aesthetic thing there too. They may not have to look as good as that fine dude, or had that same quote unquote swag of the other fine dude, but they still got something. Especially as women get a little bit older and more sensible. So these guys, they had to build themselves up. Now understand where select man probably started. He probably wasn't among, the more popular dudes in high school. And, he probably had to go to college, they work his way, be responsible. And then you get on some job, career, whatever, for a business. And you got to put in long hours. And then at the same time, you still got to keep yourself in shape. And then, like I said, an aspect of being select is aesthetic, even for the guys who had to work there. So, they got to put in long hours at the gym. They got to build their body up. And on the for real, the reality is that most men ain't going to really get to that select level until their 30s. Or even a level of sex appeal, or even a level of quote-unquote swag. If you look at Hollywood, that's a good example, since so many people like focusing on celebrities. And I don't mean just black celebrities, just celebrities, period. The men who are considered sex symbols in Hollywood are rarely in their 20s. or teenagers. You get a few, but if you look at the guys who constantly make those infamous list of sexiest man alive, or this man is sexy, and then the women going crazy over 'em, these men are really in their 30s and 40s. But then when you see that before picture when they were in high school, they were some dorky looking dudes. But all of them had to build up to it. Now, focusing on black men, all these dudes, they had to do a lot to get into that select category. They had to build up. They had to work. They had to take their scars. They had to take their bumps, especially dealing with women. Every select dude that had to work to get to that level, they got some war stories. They got that woman who like cheated on them. They got that woman that ignored them. They got all this stuff. They got that woman that broke their heart. A few of them might have that woman. They had a child with, and then she decides she didn't want to deal with them anymore. I mean, there's so many scenarios. So they got the scars, but see, they worked up. They got to the quote unquote promised land. But then, one thing a woman has to understand: once a man gets there, let me say that again. Once a man gets there, he's not going to be willing to settle for whatever. Because once a man gets there, he has the most important thing a man really of any race can have, and that's options. Because once he becomes select, well, one, he got more women checking for him. And because of that, he can go for the best one he can get. So it's like that, the man, that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go for the woman who's going to provide him those 2 P's: peace and pleasure. Let me talk about that pleasure thing for a second. And this is one thing a lot of women don't seem to understand about men. See, a lot of women feel like that man should just automatically take care of them and do all this stuff. And too many don't feel like they have to do anything in return. Ladies, let me let y'all know something about men. He'll take care of you. He'll make sure that you get gifts. He'll make sure you got a roof over your head. He'll do what he got to do. But you got to give him something. One is peace. I talked about peace. Another one is pleasure. A mentor of mine, and I actually had talked about this book a little while ago, and that was Awakening the Master Feminine. And the author of that book, Yao and Yamache Morris, he said in it, the purpose of a wife is to bring pleasure. And women need to get with that. That's the one, that's the main thing. When a man is getting with a woman, the main thing is for her to give him pleasure. It's pleasurable to have that peace of mind, but quite frankly, that pleasure is primarily sexual. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. We got to start dealing with nature. That man wants sex. Yeah, you getting some too, so don't act like you ain't getting nothing out of the equation. But that man wants sex, and he wants good sex. Now, the sex he wants it from a woman who's going to actually arouse him. See, understand something about men in general. This ain't just black men either. This is men all over. We're booty motivated. That's why you will get a millionaire, and they will have, even if they get, no matter who they marry, they'll have that one woman who will fuck their brains out. I mean, that's the case with these sugar daddies. These sugar daddies, they unapologetic. They ain't looking for just some companion or something, just a mere companion. Shoot, they want that woman to rock his world. And here's the reason. And the thing is, when men receive that pleasure from a woman, when a woman really put it on him, that man feel like he can go out and do whatever. He feel like Superman. In fact, I tell you what, a woman, if she keeps her body tight and she knows how to really take a man to the highest levels of pleasure, learn how to really make him feel good, that type of woman, she could take a homeless dude, rock his world, and then in probably a year, something, that dude is doing what he can do. That dude has got a home, mansion, whatever. But at the same time, I know some women out there saying, well, they stayed with some bum and did all that. And it's like, well, did you? And maybe he just was a bum. Some men can't. But in general, if a woman, understands, she keeps bringing that man pleasure and peace, he can rise to whatever heights. That's why that saying is, behind every strong man is a woman. That's the real meaning of it. It ain't like she bossing him around or anything, or inspiring him mentally, telling him what to do. Basically, she playing her role. If you check out a book, a very influential book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about it. He has a whole chapter of it. It's called Sex Transmutation. He had studied the successful men of his time, and this was in the 30s, and he said if you check all their biographies and you check with them, they all had that one woman who was rocking his world. And see, when a select man get up there, that's what he's looking for. In fact, I'm gonna tell you what. There was there's been a big deal always about men going to the Dominican Republic or Brazil, right? But I remember I heard about that. I knew about that years before it became like knowledgeable, popular, or people were talking about it. And see, me and another mentor of mine, we called the brothers Global Brothers. And these were successful black men. What they would do is maybe travel to one of these places like maybe once a month. Have a good time, get their stuff off. They come back home and just work. They wouldn't socialize with anybody. They wouldn't socialize with any American women. They would just work. And then would just once a month get recharged. And that's the nature of a man. So, these select brothers, that's what they're going to do. They're going to want the finest women who are going to rock their world. Now, here's the thing. Getting back to the title, bringing it around full circle. These brothers have earned the right to do that. Because they had to work to get there. It wasn't like something the women are just going to fall all over. That man had to spend, physically, he had to spend long hours probably in the gym or something. Or if at the very least keep his health up. Check. At the very least, he had to spend long hours developing his craft. Whatever it is. He had to work to get to that level of success. And once he gets to that level of success, he doesn't want to deal with any old woman who's going to just bring heartache to him, not bring him pleasure. If he's not aesthetically attracted to a woman, he ain't going to want to deal with her. That's going to kill his energy. I've seen it happen. If she got the type of personality he don't want to deal with, she's not bringing him a peace of mind, he don't have to deal with her. He's earned the right not to deal with her. So, I think I get the point. See, understand that. I don't care what you think about these guys who get up there and they make it to some type of pinnacle. Whether it's celebrities or whether it's some dudes who, becoming professionals like attorneys or doctors or accountants or, somebody who's successful in business. They all had to work there. And as a result, they have earned the right to choose who they want for a relationship. So, that's it for this one. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.